Today I'm going to be ranking 12 common red flags in women from least risky to full on deal breakers. On screen I've got tier list maker, and down below I have 12 images that represent 12 of these red flags that I'll be breaking down. And these red flags are as follows: party girls, mummy issues, daddy issues, attention seekers, promiscuous women, girls that get plastic surgery, feminists, substance abusers, rebound relationships, cheaters, gold diggers, and narcissists. And the tier list is going to rank from S all the way down to D. S being full on deal breakers, run, this person you can't have a healthy relationship with. A, very risky, proceed with caution. B, moderate red flags where it's concerning, but context matters. C, there is some risk, but with maturity and healing, you may give that person a chance. And last but not least, the smallest red flags, where things through patience and time, especially with self-awareness, can change. At the end of the day, gentlemen, no one is perfect, man or woman. And you should always clean up your act before you get involved with a woman. But part of succeeding in your dating, your relationship life, is choosing a woman that's good for you. And that's going to include disqualifying and weeding out women that are not good for you, right? Hence why I've made this red flag tier list. And the first thing I want you to understand before I get into this is what a red flag is. Because some of you who may not be familiar with my work, I do have a video on the channel where I break down red flags, which I'll link down below at the end. Or you could just pause, go through my videos and just type in red flags, understanding red flags in women. But in a nutshell, I'll just tell you quickly. Red flags are warning signs that there's a problem. Dismissing red flags is always going to lead to disaster. The red flags you ignore at the beginning will become deal breakers in the end. The sad reality is most people don't change or work on themselves. Some do, hence you need to have humility and look at things objectively. But understand that red flags are always rooted in unrepentant sin and unresolved trauma. This person is doing degenerate evil things that are damaging their moral code, or they have past wounds from their childhood, from their past, which have changed the way they view human interactions and relationships as a whole. They hold back. They have a charred identity or a damaged sense of self-esteem. And red flags, I think you can categorize them based on what I've seen over the years into 3 subsets. And I want you to keep this in mind as just before I get into this. Okay? Number 1, red flags are behaviors or situations that indicate that a woman is not capable of being in a relationship because they are a danger not only to you but to themselves. Number 2, red flags don't always mean she's a horrible person. It sometimes means she's stuck in a world of her own internal issues that prevent her from being vulnerable, open, or giving and receiving love with you. And last but not least, red flags are just warning signs that she's immoral. She has ulterior motives for being with you, gentlemen. Maybe she's using you, maybe she's not that into you, but she's settling for you. She's got damaged goods and you're just the only guy that'll take her. Or there's something severely wrong with her that's disqualifying her from being a wife or a mother. Choose wisely. So in a nutshell, keep that in mind. Now let's do our ranking. S being deal breaker, A, it's heavy, medium, low, all the way to what's more fixable. Okay, so let's start with the lowest, from work our way up from the bottom. And on D, the first one we are putting here is going to be party girls. Now some of you are going to go, Christian, there's no way, you must have put this higher. No. Why am I putting party girls the lowest? Simple. Gentlemen, women are actually homebodies. A lot of women, when they're single, they will go out and party because it's the most common way to meet someone, especially in today's day and age. Young people go out, they party, they get together, they live a social life. Some women like to go out or drink or go dance with their girlfriends. Now obviously, partying cannot be a safe environment. She's still putting herself at risk and bad things can happen, or she can be misled, right? Or it can degenerate her morals if she's with the wrong crowd. Absolutely. And that's where the red flag comes in. There's a risk. However, how many times have you partied before? Does that mean you're a walking red flag? I used to party when I was 17, 18, 19. I tried it a few times. I didn't like it and I stopped. And you have to understand that for a lot of women, They'll just party because they're single and they're just bored. So get to know the woman, ask her what her reasons are, and oftentimes they're not. If she's a good woman, what's going to happen when she gets into a relationship or she's serious about you? She stops partying altogether. She'll put that behind her. And that's why this is D tier. It's something that's not a big issue. Okay? Through, as I put here in the D tier, these are things that can be improved over time, especially with self-awareness and effort. Most women, once they have a man that they really care about and they love, they don't want to party. They're not going to do those things anymore. Especially the younger generation, people in your late teens, early 20s, people in college. This is something that once you've tried it a few times, if you're mature, you just stop doing it altogether. So this is why it's not really a problem if she's partied a bit, as long as she's willing to stop doing it. C tier. What are we going to put here? Daddy issues. Some of you might think, there's no way, Christian, daddy issues should be way higher. Actually, no. And I'll tell you exactly why. You see, you don't get a say in what family you were brought up in. The reality is most people come from a broken, messed up home with weak fathers, absent fathers, or fathers that are just godless, and they don't give their sons or daughters a proper blueprint of how to live or how to love. Hence why a lot of young men and women grow up with really low self-esteem. Now, it's not her fault if her father was weak or absent, but it is her responsibility of how she has chosen to respond to how her father chose to raise her. So, this is when you ask questions. What's your relationship like with your father? And if she can talk about it, tells you that she's healed, tells you that she's moved on, tells you that it's not a problem and she's rebuilt a bond with him, or maybe she's got a great father, she tells you how much she loves him, then it's okay. Not everybody comes from a good family and they turn out just fine. My woman, she came from a broken home. She wasn't raised with her father for many years, but she's rebuilt a bond with him and she never spoke badly of him. She's got a better relationship with him. She really, really loves him. And she could say bad things about him, but she chooses not to because she respects him. Because she respects men. And she chose to just be a good woman. And she relearned as she grew up, how to trust men, how to vet men, what to look for in a man. She raised her standards because she fixed her self-esteem. And I'm telling you, because a lot of women are in the same basket. Not just because they come from a bad home doesn't mean that it's game over. Some women, they'll be okay if the dad's messed up. It's not their fault that the dad's messed up. It's how they chose to respond to the dad not being there or the dad leaving. How did it affect them? Have they healed? And this is why it's on C tier. Okay? So there's some risk, but with maturity and healing, this can be worked on. So it's not the be all end all. Okay? There's two extremes here. Some women come from a messed up with a weak dad, and it's true. They'll go for older men. They will not trust men. They will be emotionally unavailable. They will jump from man to man, right, to try and make up for the emotional connection, the loss of emotional connection that they didn't have with their father. They're craving that, so they're jumping from guy to guy. They might be a little bit unstable, but a lot of women turn out fine. And if you vet and know what you're dealing with, it's a C tier. Okay, it could definitely be worse, but in most cases it's usually better. And with age, the average person who matures, it's not the end of the world. Plenty of men who have daddy issues too. We don't talk about that often, do we, gentlemen? And that's why daddy issues is going into C tier. This can really be worked on for a lot of women. And sometimes what a woman needs is just a bit of love. And if she really desires you, you've got chemistry, you're compatible, and she learns to trust you, you really get her to open up as a man, any daddy issues will just fade away if you really know how to impact a woman. So daddy issues is C. And next we're going to do mummy issues. Mummy issues is also going to be C tier. Basically for the same reasons I mentioned, there's going to be two extremes. Some women are going to grow up with a dysfunctional, a feminist, or an absent mother. Maybe the mother was very domineering and the mother treated the dad badly and she witnesses that growing up. So she doesn't know how to properly be feminine. Because mothers are the foundation of attachment. And for a woman, the mother is going to be the first example of womanhood that she has. If the mother is dysfunctional, messed up, a feminist, has a whole set of problems, she might have a very bad view of wifehood and motherhood, making her afraid of being a wife or a mother herself. So sometimes, yes, if she has mummy issues, the woman will grow up to maybe be more tomboyish. She might develop more masculine qualities. She might hate her femininity, right? So she might want to stay far away from a traditional lifestyle, not wanting to be a wife, not wanting to be family oriented because of that hurt, because of that wound of, I don't want to be like mum. Mum was messed up. If this is what motherhood is and being a wife is like, I don't want to be like her. And it shatters their femininity. They don't know how to be a proper woman. And that's one extreme where they get the mummy issues, right? They're a tomboy, they have all sorts of issues. Sometimes these women grow up with a mother who just, different men come and go from their life because it's a single mum. And they see the mother not knowing how to vet men, or the mother keeps bad mouthing or talking badly about the dad when the dad there's nothing wrong with him. So then these women grow up also from mummy issues, not knowing how to trust a man. And they're more closed off and they have vulnerability issues. That's one extreme. The other side of the coin is, as we mentioned with daddy issues, these women don't get to choose what sort of mother they had. Some women look at this and think, you know what? I don't want to be like mum. I want to do things right. I believe in love. I want to be a wife. One day I want to be a mother. And they'll get a better role model, maybe an auntie or a grandma or someone else comes in to the picture that she can learn about womanhood from. No different than with daddy issues. If a good man doesn't influence her, maybe a stepdad or an uncle or a grandfather or an older brother, or a good man like you comes into her life and helps her if she's open to it. So the same thing here with mummy issues. The other extreme, some of these girls heal. They are completely fine. So the key is, when you meet a girl, you ask her, hey, what's your relationship like with your mum? Do you love her? How's everything going? And let her talk. If she tells you, I don't want to talk about it, I hate my mum, I want nothing to do with her, yeah, mummy issues. Same thing with the dad. But if she says, you know what, I love my mother, or she's open and tells you her mother had problems with her, but she's learned to rebuild her trust and develop a stronger bond, she'll be fine. Okay? And then you monitor that. You see if it adds up, if she's willing to work on it. And that's why it's C tier. Yes, this could definitely be worse. Absolutely. If left unhealed, this unresolved trauma can really disintegrate her identity, making this woman, with her dad issues and mummy issues, it could probably go even higher. B tier, A tier, S tier. Absolutely. But most women are actually okay over time. The smart ones. Okay? But looking at it objectively, I have to put this in C tier, because there are some things that are far worse than how you were raised. Right? It's more important who she chooses to be as a woman, her own decisions. Because past a certain age, you can't blame mummy or daddy anymore for who you've chosen to be. Okay? That's the bottom line here. And that's why it is a C tier. Okay? C tier being there's some risk, but with maturity and healing, things can be worked on. Okay? You want a woman that takes accountability for her life, and she doesn't blame mummy and daddy for everything. When she's a little girl or a teenager, I get it, maybe early 20s, but past that point, it's like, are you healing? Are you working on yourself? Or what are you doing with your life? Okay. So now, the next one we're going to get into is a classic one, attention seeker. And for attention seeker, I'm going to put the Monroe woman from way back in the day, who was, even though she was known to be promiscuous, she was a big attention seeker, big drama queen, just to represent the image here. And now we move up to a higher level of risk on the tier. Okay? Because what is B tier? It's a moderate red flag. It's concerning, but context matters. Can she acknowledge or work on it? Now, as we mentioned just before, most red flags are rooted in unresolved trauma or unrepentant sin. If she comes from a dysfunctional home where there's an imbalance in gender roles, mum and dad are messed up, mummy daddy issues, and it's not healed, as I just said before, this is where it goes up a level. So some of these women who are attention seekers, this is where a lot of it's rooted in. It's not really who you hang around with, it's usually a self-esteem issue. Okay? And when a woman doesn't have an accurate sense of self, and she wasn't given enough I love yous from mum, from dad, she wasn't given enough praise, there wasn't security, there wasn't stability, she's going to seek that out herself and create a sense of security artificially on her own via who she chooses to interact with, to feel like she has a sense of worth, a sense of certainty, a sense of love and connection, a sense of growth, a sense of variety, a sense of safety and security. These are our human needs. And when a woman is an attention seeker, she's deficient in that. So what does she do? What does an attention seeking woman do? This is going to be the woman who has guy friends, right? She might be dating you, but she's got 2-3 guy friends hanging in the background because she was probably never told she was pretty enough as a girl. But if she has enough guy friends sticking around her, it gives her that sense of validation because she's got low self-esteem. Whereas if a woman had a healthy self-esteem and she has an accurate assessment of herself, if she feels like she's beautiful, she doesn't need to be told that by random strangers or by guy friends or different men in the background. If she's an attention seeker, which is not just guy friends, it's typically when a woman posts immodest or vain pictures on social media. She's posting all the time on her Instagram, her TikTok, her Facebook, her Snapchat, posting stories all the time of her face or her body or a picture, inappropriately in a bikini, showing herself off. And confident women don't do this. Confident women do not want to show their body, or let alone really their face online. You get a free pass once or twice and you're a teenager, you don't know what you're doing, but when you get to a certain age, you're an adult. Why are you doing this? Unless she's a model and that's her job, what is a woman doing showing herself, advertising herself online? She's marketing herself as single and available. Please like me. Please say I'm pretty. Please see me. I want to feel noticed and heard and seen and valued. That's what she's doing. And the reason why this is a red flag on the B list is because if she's an attention seeker, then why is she with you? Are you not enough? Does she not find you attractive enough? When you compliment her, is that not enough for her? Does that not fulfill her or meet her needs? So if you can't fulfill her needs, what does that say about how she feels about you? Does she even desire you? Are you both really even compatible? Why is she doing this? If you have a woman and she's posting this stuff, it's a problem. Now, if you mention this to her once and she says, I never thought about that. You know what? Maybe you're right. I have a very low self-esteem. And she tries to stop. She cuts off all the guy friends and she gets rid of her inappropriate pictures online. Okay. I still wouldn't trust a woman like that personally. But some of you are in this situation and you're serious with a girl and these things happen. If you have that conversation and she's willing to work on herself, it's up to you. It's up to you. It's concerning, but context matters. Can she acknowledge and work on it? Does she take accountability when you mention it? Some women grow up and they don't know about the guy friends because their fathers and mothers never told them, be careful about boys. They only want one thing. Even though some of these women grow up and they know this, if she has low self-esteem, it's to her any attention is better than no attention. Whether it's from you or not, she wants attention from everyone and anyone. Whereas women with a healthy self-esteem only want attention from a man they love. And if you're dating a woman steadily and your presence isn't enough, it's either she's settled for you, which is a red flag, or this is also a red flag, but fixable, where if she has unresolved wounds with her self-esteem from mommy and daddy and there's problems there, and she just doesn't know how to address that, but you sit her down and she starts to work on her self-esteem, she starts to, stabilize herself mentally, spiritually, physically, then there's a chance you can work on that relationship. If she acknowledges that, you know what, I shouldn't, out of respect for you, I'm not going to let guys near me. Out of respect for you, I'm going to stop posting inappropriate pictures online. You're right, it's disrespectful. Maybe no one's told her that. So that's why it's a B tier, where it's concerning, it is, and it's risky, but context does matter. Okay. Was she an attention seeker? Sure. Can she change? Yes. Can this damage your relationship 5-10 years from now? No. If she cuts off the guy friends now and she cuts off the weird social media stuff, it's going to change everything. Right? So things will go back to, right, exactly. So It is fixable for those who are in that rare case, but it does go up on the list because it is higher up. Okay, so that's attention seeking. And next up, oh boy, we have plastic surgery. Now, women who alter their appearance via cosmetic surgery, and it's not for genuine reasons, which I personally believe there are exceptions. If she had an accident, she got, I don't know, face bitten by a dog, or she was born with a cleft lip, she wants it more natural. If she was a burn victim, or had an accident, or she was born with a deformity and wants to look normal, there's no problem with that. But if she was born normal, and there's nothing wrong with her, and she wants to alter her face, lip injectors, lip fillers, BBLs, getting her breasts done, facelift and Botox, and all these different bodily modifications, this is a woman with a very low self-esteem. And this is like kind of like a one-up of attention seeking, you could say. It's like she doesn't even like herself, so how can she properly like you? But why does context matter here? What were her reasons for the surgery? How many surgeries has they done? And is she willing to stop? And also, what are you willing to accept and tolerate? Now, my rule is this, as Christ said, do to others as you'd have others do unto you. And I believe you should only accept from a woman what you're willing to offer. Some of you guys, some of you men are taking fucking steroids, excuse my French, or you're altering your chemicals and your hormones, which is changing your body. You probably really can't judge it, can you? But for those of you who maybe you've met a very sweet girl who, when she was young, when she was immature and insecure years ago, maybe did her lips once or something like that, and she tells you that she's repented from that, she realized what she did was wrong, she's had a change of mind, and she fully understands that plastic surgery, like she would never do this again. Fair enough, you can consider if you want to continue with her. It's high risk. It is higher risk, but context matters. Does she acknowledge that it's wrong, and can she stop? If it's yes, congratulations, give her a chance. But if she tells you, I'm gonna get more things done, and again, a lot of these red flags tie in together. If she's doing the plastic surgery and she hasn't changed, this is when you're gonna see her still on social media with the selfies and the lips and everything. Yeah, it all goes in together. But if she's a natural woman and she's developed a healthier self-esteem and she says, you know what, I got my lips done once 3 years ago, I'm never doing that again, I feel really bad, or I got my nose done, but you see pictures of what she used to look like and you can accept it, the kids are going to turn out alright, then that's up to you. So context matters, being humble and analyzing things from all angles before you make a decision. Who is she? Who is she now? What are the chances of who she's going to be 5-10 years from now? What are her values? Okay? People make all sorts of dumb mistakes when they're young. Context really matters here, gentlemen. But it's definitely higher up on the list because if she had a botched surgery and it's altered how she looks, or you saw how she looks before the surgery and you feel like you're being deceived by her and she still has low self-esteem, then it's risky to be with a woman like that. Because if she doesn't accept how God made her, how's she going to accept your compliments and your love and your affection? Is that really a role model that you want for your future sons and for your daughters? Mummy used to get her face done. It's something for you to consider. So it's on the B list. Next up we have, and then I've got different condoms and birth control pills for this one, is promiscuity, a promiscuous woman. I'm including women high body count, women that sleep around, women that jump from man to man in the hookups terms. Now, some of you think, Christian, why aren't you putting those on the A list or the S tier? Simple. Again, context matters. Did she sleep with 3 guys in 2-month period at college and realize it's wrong, and for 5 years she's been chased? Or has she been sleeping with 1 guy every weekend for the last 5 years with a couple hundred digit? Yeah, much different. They're both promiscuity, but to what degree? Where did she change? Where did she draw the line? Does she recognize now that sexual immorality is wrong? Does she openly tell you she regrets it, that hookups are bad, that sleeping around is bad? It's like context here matters. Some of you watching have a body count yourself. from hookups, from sleeping around. Judge accordingly. If you want a woman with a certain body count, what's your body count? What's your past? What's your history? If she has a promiscuous past and you don't, by all means walk away. She's not for you. But if you have a 6 body count from sleeping around and she has a 5 body count or a 3, you shouldn't judge. Yours is probably higher than hers. So context really matters here. Would you want a woman to judge you for your body count, even though you stopped sleeping around years ago? Of course not. You changed. You've been different. So you really need to sit here and talk things through. Where does she stand on sex before marriage? Where does she stand on hookups? Is she against it? Is she for it? Birth control. Is she against it or is she for it? Does she open up about her past? Or does she say, I don't want to talk about it, it's none of your business, when you ask her body count? Do you hear stories about her from, she's been the town slut? What do you know about her reputation, sexually speaking? Okay, these are things you want to go deep in. Ask her, how far has she taken her sexual life? How immoral has it been? These are things you want to know. And again, it's on the B list because it's serious, but context matters. Some of you guys in a high stress state, you're in college, you're going through a bad place, you're coming out of a breakup, you hook up a few times and you realize, what was I doing? I get stories from men and from women I've heard often. They do a couple, they regret it, they never do it again. Should you be judged for that forever? Of course not. Be mindful of someone with a high body count, but more important, assess it righteously. What is your sexual history and does it pair well with hers? Does it cancel out? If you have a 5 body, does she have a 5 body? If you're a virgin, she's got a 5 body, you're probably not going to relate too well. You're better off finding a virgin. She's better off finding a guy who has some type of body count. They can relate and understand each other better. Those with a promiscuous past will relate better like that. So again, it's a B tier because if somebody was promiscuous once, it doesn't mean they're going to be promiscuous 10, 20 years from now. Some people hook up a few times and they regret it later on in life. So it's not the end of the world. It is concerning, but context matters. Can she acknowledge and work on it? Gentlemen, do you understand? So yeah, that is that. So now we're going to move on to the next red flag, which is going to be substance abuse. And this one isn't a B tier. This is going into the A tier. Why substance abuse? Because it's very risky. And you need to be cautious and see if she's worked on these issues. And you might be thinking, but Christian, how can substance abuse be more dangerous than promiscuity? Because you could argue with the promiscuity, she could have kids from different men. She could have STDs. Absolutely. But with the substance abuse, she could die. With the substance abuse, she could be taken advantage of by other men. With the substance abuse, she's showing a pattern of addiction where she doesn't value herself at all. Yeah, if she's promiscuous, she's putting herself in a bad situation. Oftentimes, if she's getting plastic surgery, it could go bad, right? You get with attention seeking, you can get a stalker or the wrong guy friend who gets jealous and comes after her, 100%. But with substance abuse, how many women have been taken advantage of or gone missing? How many predatory men wait for women to get drunk, or they take alcohol, or they spike their drink? So a woman who is intelligent, a woman who's worthy of being a wife and a mother, is ultimately a woman that makes very calculated decisions. She protects her purity and her innocence, not just sexually, but what goes into her body. She honors that, and she does not put herself in environments such as partying, but even deeper, where she can take substances. So women who are taking drugs, alcohol, smoking, and I'm not saying having a drink, a glass of wine, something like that. I'm talking full on, she's drinking, she's getting drunk on a consistent basis. That woman has a problem. And when someone isn't sober, they do not make good decisions. They put themselves in very dangerous situations. Some women, they'll drink a lot, they'll take drugs, and they will never hook up or sleep around. But they will get taken advantage of. Or they'll end up in prison, or they'll fight some woman, or they'll do something else that damages their reputation. And substance abuse, drugs and alcohol, consuming that on a consistent basis, burns through your protective hormones, aging you. it's like women who take cocaine, it can burn through the nostrils and they need to get their nose rebuilt. It wears away their teeth, mouth ulcers, it damages their health, their skin. I mean, some of these women, they age their biological clock by 10 plus years just by drinking and smoking and taking all these substances. A woman like that is not in the right headspace to date you, to be a wife, to be a mother. It's just that person doesn't even know what they're doing. Whether she's escaping from her traumas or from her past, or ultimately she's using drugs and alcohol to cope, to escape her reality. So if she's escaping her reality, she's dating you. Are you one of her other good choices? I don't think so. However, I will tell you the one exception here. Love conquers all. And I've even heard stories of with men where women, they'll be dating a guy who's drug addict or he's taking a lot of alcohol, he's an alcoholic, and she will help the guy get clean. And when the guy gets clean and he's a normal guy, he's not addicted anymore, he'll marry her and he'll treat her well. So sometimes love can push through. Sometimes, gentlemen, if you really have a soft spot for her and you see through the substance abuse and there's a chance that she can go to rehab and get fixed and changed, maybe she turns out to be a good woman. Some people used to drink 10 years ago. Doesn't mean they drink anymore. You're going to have to put a lot of thought process into this if you're dating a woman like this. There are exceptions where they can really change and work on themselves. Again, it's high risk and there's a low chance that they will, but sometimes they will. That's for you to decide. Very risky, you need to be very cautious and see if she's willing to get help. What if you had a son or a daughter who had problems with alcohol or drugs? Would you not want them to get help? Would you not abandon them? Of course not, right? So, for those of you in a relationship, maybe you're very serious with a woman and you find out she's got these issues, before you leave, see what you can work out, because you never know. Okay? That's substance abuse, and yes, that is an A, very dangerous. And the next one, rebound relationships. Oh boy, this one was coming. If you are dating a woman and she's keeping you hidden from her family, from her friends, she sees you at times that only suit her, she comes and goes when she pleases, she doesn't really label your relationship yet, but she's still dating you for a long time, everything's only on her terms, you've got to ask yourself, why isn't she so serious about you? What is she doing in her spare time? Who's she hanging with? Why is she holding back? You see, a lot of people nowadays, divorce, broken relationships, get the heart broken so many times. And at the rate people jump into relationship after relationship, how many people are really healed and single and ready, willing, able to date from a clean and sober mind? And because of this, you might get involved with a woman who, she's not over her ex. He's still in the background. She ain't healed. Maybe she tells you the truth, maybe she doesn't, but patterns will begin to form. Why is she still following him? Why is the guy still messaging her? Accidentally calls you by his name. She mentions to you subtly through hints that she's not really over him. She doesn't really want to post a picture with you both on social media in case the ex sees. She hides her phone from you. So there are certain things to consider here. But if you are the rebound, there's a very high chance that you are not the man that she truly desires. Usually when a woman comes out of a long-term relationship and she hasn't healed and she's dating, she's not doing so to find love. She's doing so to escape those feelings of loneliness and to avoid the pain of the breakup. So she's using you as a coping mechanism. And when this happens, they usually lower their standards. They date down a guy who's less attractive. Maybe the beta male, you're the beta male friend who she's giving a chance because you just hung around in the background. That woman, once she heals after being with you, what's she gonna do? What am I doing with him? She's gonna feel guilty as she starts to heal from the ex, and she'll dump your ass too. Someone like this is not stable, they don't have a sober mind, and they are not ready to even invest in you. And there's a high chance they are not with you for the right reasons. The only case where this works is when she's been single for a long time and you have evidence to back it up. But let's say she had a really bad breakup, like the guy was genuinely abusive, the guy was genuinely like fucked up, and she was scared and now she has trust issues with men, so she's rebuilding that bond and learning how to communicate and be open again. Fair. But be very careful if you're the rebound. Be very, very careful. If you met a girl at work and she's like, oh, I have a boyfriend, but yeah, we just broke up a few weeks ago. You gotta be real careful. Or especially, even worse, if you find out from friends or family or other people. Or even the ex might reach out to you and warn you, hey man, be careful with her, she's this, this and that. Well, there's one red flag, there's usually more. Especially with serious ones like that. There's been a lot of cases where those that rebound lie about how long they've been single, or they lie about what actually happened in the breakup, and they just jump to someone new to just cope with the pain. But they don't actually heal, because you can't avoid healing. You have to do the healing eventually. And this is why when you date women who are rebounding to you, they run hot and cold. They don't fully commit, and you can't figure out why. You know, they'll accidentally slip up, mention the ex's name, right? This weird things like that will happen. She'll disappear for a week or two. What's going on? Gone back to the ex. Or they're still talking behind your back and you don't know. So it's very, very dangerous, very risky. Be very, very careful. And the next one we're going to put up here is feminists. Go girl power. So I have a video on feminism on YouTube. Some of you may have seen it, some of you haven't. But feminism is a byproduct of cultural Marxism. It's satanic, it's anti-family, anti-men, anti-women. I mean, women have had all their feminism in the last 60 years, and they are on more antidepressants than ever before. They are more miserable than ever before. They are unhealthier than ever before. They are unhappier than ever before. And the divorce rate is higher than ever before. Obviously, men have a role to play in this. Do not get me wrong. Male feminists, red pillars, all these different manosphere coaches, all these modern men that are not traditional by default are feminist. But the women that are feminist, they devalue their femininity. They hate womanhood. Does tie into mummy issues if it's left unhealed, or weak fathers with daddy issues, absolutely. But feminism is something evil. It's something spiritual. It's a rebellion to God. And a woman who doesn't respect male authority, male headship, and doesn't understand her role or her place in society, or how to be a real lady, a true woman, is a woman that is never going to be able to love and respect you. And she is a danger for you to date. If a woman tells you she doesn't believe in traditional gender roles, she's having a kids young isn't a priority, being married young isn't a priority, being a stay-at-home mum isn't a priority. She doesn't even know what... She expects you to be traditional and be a provider, but she doesn't want to do her part. She doesn't believe in differences between men and women. If she doesn't accept what a man or a woman is, or how we are biologically, spiritually, physically, and emotionally different, how can she respect or understand you? She's just going to see you as another woman or a challenge. If she's hyper-masculine, right? You've got to ask yourself, is this a woman you want to be with? Because if she doesn't submit to God, how the hell is she going to submit to you? Feminists are very dangerous to get involved with. The only caveat is this. It's cultural Marxism, it's brainwashing, and a lot of women go down the feminist route just because it's popular. There's been a massive movement recently, in the last couple of years, of a lot of women online, young women that are realizing that feminism ain't working. And they're working on their femininity. They want to be around more masculine men. However, a lot of women have feminist residue because of that brainwashing. And as a man, you lead, so you can lead her out of it. As long as you have a woman, chemistry, real desire, and she's got some good enough values, but she's got a bit of feminism, there's wiggle room, and you can test it for a short period in the early stages of dating to see if she's willing to change. I have seen case studies online of women who, in their testimonials, they say that they were the biggest feminists. I mean, never want kids, never want marriage, but they get around a strong masculine guy that they love, like their current husband or the boyfriend who becomes their husband, and they say that it changed them. Being around that man, they felt feminine for the first time in their lives. They felt submissive. They felt that they could be playful. They feel protected by him. For the first time in their life, they want to cook and clean for a man. For the first time in their life, they're thinking about having kids and being a traditional woman. And it's because of how masculine and how attracted they were to that man. So a lot of this feminist stuff, if you're only attracting women that are feminists, either you suck at vetting women or you're a weak effeminate pussy. I'm just going to say it like that. You can't just be that unlucky. There's patterns, and the common denominator might be you, gentlemen. So, yes, feminists are to be avoided, but some of them, if it's not, the feminism hasn't poisoned them too much, they can be led out of it. And if they desire you and you're the man of their dreams, watch that feminism disappear. Because that same woman that's a raging feminist with you, put her around a man she absolutely adores and watch that feminism go right out the window. That's the bottom line. Usually when a woman settles more for a man, she's more rebellious. She's more, I'm going to do what I want. But when she sees you as a man, she submits. She follows your lead with love. Because submission isn't about abuse or power. It's about love and respect. She surrenders to you. She wants to be led by you. She wants to feel like a lady because of how masculine you are. So see if there's any wiggle room. See if you have genuine desire and what you can work on there. And now we're getting into S tier. This is going to be, we're not talking A tier, which is very risky. We're talking deal breakers. We're talking full on run. Don't even sit there and, let me see. Gold diggers, okay? Woman with the materialistic bags. There's a common trope online I see with a lot of these celebrities or like really wealthy, successful men, footballers, actors, musicians, and a lot of people, they're getting divorced, right? Some of these men are worth millions or billions, and all these guys in the comments are like, if she can divorce him and they're billionaires, they're gonna divorce you and you're the average guy. And it's like, no, it's not about the money, it's about desire. A lot of these women settle. And the thing is, you can't buy love. Money can't buy a woman's attraction. She likes you or she doesn't. And sadly, when a woman has severe trauma and she's severely immoral, she just does not care anymore. She's bitter, she's resentful towards men. She doesn't care about love anymore. She doesn't care about desire anymore. She thinks, you know what, I'm just going to find the weakest cuck I can find who's going to be a safety wallet for me. And she'll date him. But what happens is, because you're only human, as she dates the guy that she doesn't find attractive, there has to be some give or take. There has to be some exchange. And if it's not genuine desire, it's going to be transactional. So this is where this whole hypergamy BS comes about. With these gold diggers or women that don't desire men, they trade having potentially genuine desire for a guy they don't desire. They know the guy desires her, but they're dating a guy that, what am I getting out of it? Money. That's my leverage. I know he likes me and he's weak enough to give me his money, so I'll kind of cope. What happens with these gold diggers? They cheat, they lie, they're with you for the wrong reasons, they're not attracted to you, which is one of the definitions of what a red flag is, isn't it? Warning signs that she's immoral, using you, not interested, or severe character flaws. This woman isn't wife material. Some of these women will even birth kids to the guy just so they have a financial tie, so they have cash flow from him. But a gold digger is a woman that does not find you attractive. If she doesn't find you attractive, why would she possibly be with you then? Ask yourself that question, gentlemen. If you're around a woman who's demanding expensive gifts, wants you to pay for everything, she never gives anything to you out of her love. Everything's transactional. If you do this, I'll do that for you. If it's all about money and you've got no signs of interest from of genuine desire, or you had to work to get her, some of these millionaires or billionaires, you hear stories how they had to constantly harass that woman until she finally gave him a chance. That's not genuine desire. If you ask a woman out once and you are the man of her dreams, man, she'll do backflips to go on a date with you. And a lot of these guys, they think if I have 5 mil in the bank or 20 mil, yeah, she's going to marry me. She might. Doesn't guarantee she's attracted to you. And now she's not going to leave me because I've got all this money. She will leave you for the guy she desires. And that is the end game with gold diggers, where they will try and date the guy they don't desire, but they'll still look at the grass as greener and realize there's other guys I find attractive, and they always cheat with a guy they like a little bit more. Very messed up situation, but you don't even have to be wealthy for her to be a gold digger. As long as you make a little bit more than her, or she knows potentially you're going to do well. Avoid women like this. Please. Deal breaker, run. And next is going to be, obviously, the classic narcissist. Narcissism, NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, whether it comes from a health issue, whether it comes from a spiritual issue. In Christianity, they call it the Jezebel spirit, where these women are so rebellious and demonic, they're evil, they're wicked. All I can say with a narcissist is they fundamentally lack empathy. They will never apologize. They don't care about how they make you feel. They will cheat. They will lie. It will tie into them being gold diggers, because narcissism runs on a spectrum where they might have stronger narcissistic traits, where some are more vengeful, some are bitter. This is where these are the women that will make up fake rape allegations. These are women that will try and defend your character. These are the women that will make up fake domestic charges. Hey, I'm going to smash my head into a wall and say my husband beat me, and they're going to believe you because they're going to believe her because she's a woman. These are going to be the women who they will use your kids against you. They will lie against you in court when it comes to child support, and they will ruin a family. These are the women that will make your life a living hell if they're severe and they're high on the narcissistic spectrum. Okay, some will just cheat and lie and insult you a few times and move on to the next guy, but the really veteran narcissist women, they will sink their claws into you and they will ruin your life. So it's like you want to be really careful around these women. If you see that she lacks empathy, she's love bombing you, okay, she's getting so close to you but she hasn't even vetted you or asked your questions, that's their strategy. I'm going to love bomb him to kind of weed him in, and now you're going to overlook how quick this happened because it feels good. They target guys with low self-esteem. They target guys that are weak. They target guys with no standards. They target desperate guys. Be really careful, okay, with this type of woman. Narcissist can ruin you. Protect yourself. Obviously it's an S tier because run. And last but not least, the classic adulterer. Cheating. I know there's a couple of a man or a woman getting caught. The woman with the face open, obviously, because she's the one cheating here. The worst thing that could happen to you in a relationship, your marriage, is getting cheated on. Hence why, biblically speaking, other than your spouse dying, the only way to nullify a marriage, biblically and morally speaking, I believe, is cheating. They've broken sacred oath. There's no trust. They lined up a replacement. It was premeditated. It was thought through. She helped him put it back in when it slipped out, time and time again. It's not an accident. She didn't do this because you didn't love her enough. She chose to cheat on you because she doesn't desire you, and because she doesn't respect you. She doesn't respect God, and she doesn't respect the sanctity of marriage, of love, or commitment for that matter. Again, there's definitely narcissistic traits here where they're more selfish, they lack empathy, they're more in it for themselves. These women can ruin families, can ruin the lives of men, and they can even screw up their children who witness mum cheating on dad, and they, again, a woman sees that growing up, going to change the way she sees her mother, can really mess her up, even for boys, growing up seeing that mum cheated on dad. Getting betrayed is by someone you love, by someone who made a vow to you, by someone you lie with at night. It's the worst thing that can happen to you. But with cheaters, it's all predictable. There's patterns, there's things you can spot. They don't desire you, hide their phone, there's things they keep from you. They disappear, like things don't add up. You'll always know. But cheating on, other than a gold digger or a narcissist, actively defaming your character, trying to ruin your reputation, a cheater will just simply betray you. Whether it's once or multiple times, this is where you get into monkey branching, where they line up, not just cheat on you once or twice and you catch them, they say they're sorry and they keep doing it, but some of them won't just cheat and stay. They will cheat, line up a replacement, and then you get the divorce papers. Hey, I'm not happy in our marriage anymore, and she's been already lined up the next guy, and you're stuck there picking up the pieces. So cheating is by far adultery. People who have a history of cheating in their past, you're warned by the people, they catch them talking to other men, you catch her flirting with other men, looking at other men, problems with her lust, all sorts of things. These are the worst. That is how I would rate these 10 classic red flags that we covered here today. Cheating, narcissism, gold digging at the top, substance abuse, if you're the rebound guy, feminists, ideological poison, going down into the B tier, attention seekers, plastic surgery girls, promiscuous women, C tier, daddy issue, mummy issue, basically trauma, unhealed wounds, and at the bottom, party girls. These are some of the classic red flags and how I would rate them, and that is what I would do in each of those situations. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been something new. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. And for those of you who'd like to learn more about what I do, join my monthly group calls in my relationship community, go through different courses I've made, or just be part of my relationship community to support me, and just to be around a group of men who are in different stages. Some are single, some are married, some are dating, and you can share your wisdom with each other here. Anything you want about dating, exclusive content that I give here as well. Be part of the community. I'll leave a link down below. And yeah, with that said, hope you all have a wonderful day, and any of the video suggestions, let me know. See you all in the next one.